for load shedding, as I'm sure you've already felt today. Well, Eskom says if all goes well, how often does that happen? If all goes well, you can expect to have uninterrupted power by Thursday or Friday. Eskom's head of generation, Philip Dukashe, says that they are hoping to recover the majority of the lost units over the next few days. Well, blackout's going to stage 4 after another shortfall in generation capacity today.
In terms of units coming back, so we have a plan in terms of megawatts and when units will be coming back. And we are hoping to be in a better position by Thursday evening, based on the units that will be coming back over this week. So we will be in a better situation around about Thursday evening and then Friday. And then we are hoping that we will reassess and see, but we believe that the opportunity to stop load shedding will be there certainly by Thursday evening, Friday morning.
Well, the reason for this is that there are 16,000 megawatts of capacity which are out of commission at the moment. 16,000 megawatts that should be being produced in South Africa that are not being produced. You know the discussions around Eskom, around Ruyter, around the Energy Ministry. Sandile Swana is a governance expert. He's at the Wits School of Governance. Sandile, good afternoon to you. Eskom's been failing for a long time. When you go to stage 4 load shedding, it's obvious that you as Eskom are going to come under pressure. Government's going to come under pressure. How do you assess this situation?
Stephen, this situation is terrible. It's terrible because we've had previously state presidents, whether they came in the form of a Jacob Zuma or a Cyril Ramaphosa, telling us the date by which state load shedding will end. In the case of the Ruyter, it was September 2021. September 2021, the uncertainty revolving around load shedding will be resolved. And that was under conditions of lockdown, where the economy was at its knees. The economy is down. The economy has been going down since the coming into power of Jacob Zuma. Yet we cannot supply enough power for this economy that is on its knees. So it speaks volumes about the capability of the government, the capability of the board of Eskom, and the capability of the top executives at Eskom, including the Ruyter. There is no capability there.
The other issue, and Ruyter, I think, has made this point today, is that there's also a lot that government is supposed to do. Only government, the Energy Ministry, can give more permission, can give permission for more generation capacity to be added to the grid. And there's plenty of evidence that, I'll get another phone call from him later, that Gwede Mantashe is moving a little slowly.
Stephen, this is very difficult. If we're to look at it as a BCom student or a student who studied business at university, and Pick n Pay comes along and says, the reason we're having so many problems is because people are not growing enough vegetables in their own homes. That's why Pick n Pay is failing. That is where the Ruyter is taking us. That people who can afford must generate their own electricity. Firms, Ford, mining houses, the major manufacturing companies must get off Eskom and generate their own. Where have you ever heard that a company that supplies a particular product advises customers to go away? That is an unthinkable prospect. Whilst Gwede Mantashe may be failing on his side for one reason or the other, but the idea that Eskom can solve this problem by losing customers, and they are performing under par when the economy is on its knees, they've already lost customers, and they want to lose more. What kind of thinking is that?
A good point. We're seeing in the aftermath of the flooding in KwaZulu-Natal a lot of people talking about climate change, and I wonder if climate change, perhaps for the first time in our history, is going to become a big political issue. Could this have consequences for our conversations around electricity in the future?
There is no question. I mean, these are old questions, and our universities have long adopted what you call, let's call it climate change for the purposes of this. There are a lot of classes in the social sciences, in the business classes. There is climate change is on the agenda. It has been on the agenda for a long time. So there's no debate about that. So what is going to happen is that there's going to be clean coal power stations. There's going to be clean solar-type power stations. There's going to be wind and all that sort of thing. However, when you are doing that, you don't start off by switching off the lights of the whole nation. You don't do that. You don't switch off the lights, which is what the Ruyter, Mandashe, and Cyril Ramaphosa are doing at present. They are just switching off the lights in the nation. There is no nation that develops, civilizes itself by switching off electricity. And you must know, I can say this because there's a lot of electrical engineers, black and white, top quality, who are unemployed, underemployed, and unwanted at Eskom. Some of them were chased out of Eskom. And then Eskom was left with incompetent people who cannot produce the goods.
So what do we do now, Sandile? I mean, where do we start now?
I can make a very crude statement about this. This crude statement came from Solidarity, and I probably would agree with the statement, that just bring back the Eskom engineers, bring back the Pure, and let them fix it. Period.
It's interesting to see you make that statement in a way. But I mean, there's a lot to what you say, and I also know, Sandile, that you're not alone. Many people have surprised themselves, I think, to agree with Solidarity. The other thing is that, I mean, all of this is going to put pressure on government in so many ways. I mean, you made the point earlier, it's entirely correct. You can't grow an economy. I mean, if you don't have electricity, you must expect a youth unemployment rate of 70%, and that's what we have.
Yes. Let us also add to the solutions, right? For instance, when we didn't have money to build roads, the N3, N4, and others, we went into triple Ps and looked at the roads that we still have that are being maintained by what is called public-private partnerships. What is stopping the government from actually launching major projects to do triple Ps, proper full-on triple Ps to build new generation capacity with private sector investors? That is one. You cannot, in order to eliminate youth unemployment, for instance, you can't talk about the fourth industrial revolution without electricity. When you are talking about a computer, you are talking on and off. You are talking electricity. A computer is electricity from start to finish. So I cannot imagine anything. Today I was in the meeting in the Val, and in the boardroom, the electricity went off and we finished the meeting in the dark. So how can you then work on this basis? If you're a student today in any university, electricity goes off, how do you plan your studies? How do you plan progress for the country, for the youth, and for the nation as a whole without electricity? And there are solutions. And the people who can solve these problems are already they are born here, they live here, they are available to solve these problems. But we continue to send those who know nothing.
Sandile Swana, thank you. Expert on governance at the Wits School of Governance. I really do appreciate the time. Well.